When discussing the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, it's very hard to determine where to start from. The matter is further complicated because the history of this region is intertwined with the religious narratives of both Judaism and Islam. In today's Bite Size, I'll try to tease out the historical roots of both Israel and Palestine going right back to the Iron and Bronze Age. Watch the video till the end. If you are seeking clarity in the core concepts, fundamental principles and basic beliefs of all religions, history and philosophy, you have come to the right place. Welcome to my channel, History, Religion and Philosophy Bite Size. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share. When studying history, one has to be really careful about the myths and legends surrounding the historical narrative. A myth is a widely held but false belief often involving supernatural beings. For example, the myth of the Greek god Zeus of thunder and lightning. Legends are stories passed from generation to generation, often based on truth but have a large element of fiction in them. For example, the legend of the mighty Achilles. Over the last 100 years, there's been great strides forward in the sciences of archaeology, paleontology, geology, anthropology, radiocarbon dating, DNA analysis, the sciences of climate changes, and linguistics such as syntax and semantics. Science has helped us tremendously to differentiate between fact and fiction. The whole discipline of textual criticism uses these sciences to look at old history, including scripture such as Bible and Quran. By the way, if you are interested in the legendary character of Alexander the Great and how it got intertwined with the religious figures of Gog and Magog, Yajuj, Majuj, please see my video. The region in question today is a small part of West Asia called the Levant. The Levant is a historical term referring to a large area in the eastern Mediterranean region of West Asia. As shown in this excellent depiction, the geopolitics of this region has changed from the Ottomans to the British Mandate, the World War I and II, the UN resolution, and the multiple Arab-Israeli conflicts. The area is of extreme religious significance as it contains the Jewish Temple Mount, the Christian Holy Church of Sepulchre, and the Islamic Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. So much so that Jerusalem has been besieged 23 times, attacked 52 times, and captured and recaptured 44 times. Let's start our story from the kingdom of Judea, which is roughly the same as modern-day Israel. In 63 before the Common Era, BCE, General Pompey of Rome captures Jerusalem, marking the beginning of Roman involvement in Judea. In 37 BCE, Herod, with Roman support, captured Jerusalem and establishes himself as a king of Judea. From 66 of the Common Era to 70 CE were the great Jewish revolts against the Romans. In 70 CE, Roman general Titus besieges and captures Jerusalem. The second temple was destroyed, which remain in ruins to this day, waiting to be rebuilt. Between 132 to 136 CE, the Bar Kokhba revolt, another major Jewish uprising against Roman rule, takes place. In 135 CE, Emperor Hadrian forces recapture of the Jerusalem and names it Aelia Capitolina. Hadrian also renames the province of Judea as Syria Palestina. So why did the Romans choose to name this area Palestina? Some historians speculate that the word Palestina was derived from the word Philistines. The Romans chose to use this word to humiliate the local Jews as they were seen historically enemies to the Philistines. So who were the Philistines, the arch rival to the Israelites? To know that, let's jump back 2500 BCE. The purpose of the bite-sized videos is to break down complex concepts into simple and easy to understand narrations. It requires a lot of effort and research. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share so we can spread the message as much as possible. Between 3500 to 3000 BCE, Egyptians ruled the area of Levant. However, around 2600 BCE, Egyptians abandoned this area and it was populated by Canaanites. The Canaanites were a subset of Semitic language-speaking people, therefore they can be linked to the Assyrians and Babylonians. The year 1200 marks the collapse of the Bronze Age and the beginning of the Iron Age. This was the time when the main chunk of the Egyptian empire collapsed. This era is marked by the arrival of sea people from Greece, possibly from the island of Crete into the land of Gaza. These people were eventually known as the Philistines. Though the word Palestine might have been derived from Philistines, modern science has not shown any continuity between the ancient Philistinians and the modern-day Palestinians. By this time, the area of Gaza was mainly populated by the Philistinians, Egyptians, Bedouins, and the Canaanites. However, by the era 600 BCE, the Philistinians completely disappeared from history. This was the time of Babylonian invasion of that area. Now that we hopefully have some clarity around the word Palestinian and Philistines, let's jump forward in time. The Roman Empire collapsed around 614. The area was ruled by Muslim emperors from 636 onwards to the time of Ottomans. During this time period, the word Palestine or Palestinian as an identity gradually faded away. The term mainly used for people living in that area was Arabs. However, by 1800s, the name Palestine made a revival again by the European Christians due to its connection with the Bible. To complete our story, this is a good segue to talk about the land of Israel and the Jewish people. When it comes to the history of Israel and Jews, there is a difference between the biblical account and the historical account. The religious narrative starts from Abraham or Ibrahim, who is generally regarded as the father of the Jews and the Muslims. Abraham came from the current-day Iraq, crossed the river Euphrates and landed up in the land of Canaan. His grandson Jacob or Yaqub was eventually called Israel. The word Israel means the one who struggles with God. It's described in Bible that Jacob wrestled with God. The children of Jacob are called Bnei Israel in Bible and Bani Israel in Quran. His fourth son Yehuda in Hebrew or Judah in English is the origin of the word Jews or the land of Judea, which I have mentioned before. Jacob and his sons moved to Egypt due to a famine in Canaan. Fast forward to 1450 BCE, Moses or Musa led the Exodus back from Egypt to the land of Canaan. Fast forward 400 years, David or Daud and his son Solomon or Suleiman built the first Temple Mount. After the death of Solomon, the southern areas were called the Judea or Yehuda and the northern areas were called Israel. In 722 BCE, the Assyrians attacked Israel and managed to destroy it. In 568 BCE, the Babylonians attacked Judea and destroyed the first temple built by Solomon. Lucky for the Judahites that Cyrus the Great defeated the Babylonians and re-established the town of Judea and Jerusalem, establishing the Temple Mount again. A large area of modern-day Israel comprises of the historical province of Judea. Now that we have come to a full circle regarding the history of Jews and Palestinians, I would recommend you go back to the beginning of this video and watch it once more before we delve into the historical, secular narratives of the children of Israel and the origin of Jews. First ever mention of Israel in archaeology is on the Merneptah stele, A stele is a stone slab with inscription. The Merneptah stele is from the Egyptian pharaoh Merneptah around 12,000 BCE. This includes a reference to Israel in a list of people and places defeated by the Egyptians. It's not clear whether Israel at that time was a small group of people or a whole tribe. There is no archaeological proof of the existence of Abraham, Isaac, Ishmael, Jacob, or Moses. As a matter of fact, Egyptians were ruling both Egypt and Canaan at the time of Exodus as described by the Bible. It therefore doesn't make any sense for the Israelite to run away from Egypt under the leadership of Moses and go back to Canaan. Differences also exist between the Bible's account of the origin of Israel and Jews and the actual archaeological and scientific discoveries. We have already discussed that according to Bible, Moses led the Israelites from Egypt, who then came and occupied the land of Canaan. Scientific discoveries inform us that the sea people invaded the coastal land of Canaan and were called Philistines. The coastal Canaanites were occupied by the Philistines, but the inland Canaanites joined hands with some other groups, for example, the Hebrews, some slaves from Egypt, and a group of people called the Sashus. The Sashus were thought to be the original worshippers of Yahweh, the Jew God. All these people joined together were called Israel. The Israelites, or the modern day Israelis, are therefore a subset of Canaanites. This is in sharp contrast to the biblical account that I've narrated before. The history of the Jews and Palestinians is complex. I've tried to simplify it in this bite size. I'll appreciate any comments or questions.